talking about. Apparently, there are ongoing behind-the-scene talks aimed at creating a level association of a fair ground, a middle ground on the way forward for the country. But will they bear any fruit? As we speak, the principal of the National Unity Platform, who also contested, was the lead contender in the race against President Yoweri Museveni, is out of the country. There are reports that negotiations are underway for his return. How true or false are these reports? Well, joining me tonight, my panelists, Hon.Ssemujju Nganda, a member of the National Unity Platform and a lawyer, Ambassador Adonia Ayebare, Uganda's representative to the United Nations, a diplomat himself, Honorable Jack Sabiti, a veteran politician and one of the top leaders in the Forum for Democratic Change, with Honorable Hon.Ssemujju Nganda, Member of Parliament, Kira Municipality, and the Secretary General of the PFF. Good to have you all and a very good evening.
It's a pleasure.
Ambassador Adonia, is it true there are behind-the-scenes talks where you are involved with the principal of the National Unity Platform?
I don't know about that. I've seen it in the media, but like all of these things, I can't deny or confirm. But as far as I'm aware, nothing much is going on.
How do you gauge the political mood now that Robert Kyagulanyi fled the country? Besigye is in prison. There are quite a number of political prisoners and a number of thorny issues that remain unresolved after January.
You know, where I stand, I mean, Uganda is stable. Uganda's standing internationally is excellent. The country moves on, meets its international obligations in peacekeeping. So we are good citizens of the world. Okay, of course, there is always domestic issues to deal with, but that is the preserve of Ugandans to figure out how they address whatever problems or contradictions that are within our society.
Honorable Ssemujju, what is your rating or your evaluation of the state of affairs 2 months down the road?
I still see tear gas and anti-riot trucks parked at most of the roundabouts in Kampala. The soldiers and policemen who were patrolling Kampala, I think majority have been withdrawn. There can be pretense on the side of government because government always wants to create an impression that everything is okay. I think for purposes of stabilizing the economy, especially after election, a lot of money having been spent. But this government of Museveni himself, who got 70-something% of election, is still behaving as if they are a suspect. Because, I mean, if things are okay, people have settled, they're at work. So what are anti-riot trucks and tear gas trucks still doing? You come to my area, they are still there. You go to Karere, they are still there. You go to Nansana. So there is a pretense that things are okay, they are calm. But people are under government. Because once people can keep quiet, just keeping quiet, but the possibility of exploding will always be there. I remember Father Carlos Rodriguez, Spanish priest, was in northern Uganda for a very long time. He went to Rwanda and said Rwanda was a powder cage. One day it will explode. Of course, they were very angry with him. You can silence people and they keep quiet. But you will know that I have just silenced them. And I think Museveni and his group know that. So this artificial calmness that we enjoy, they know that behind it, the anger is brewing.
Are there any thorny issues that you feel are being ignored or not discussed to the depth?
I said here, I have participated as a candidate in 3 elections. I have never seen an election that is grossly mismanaged. The Electoral Commission surrendering completely to the military. In the area where I am an MP, at least for the next 1 month, the mayor, the division mayors, councillors, NRM were number 3 in most of these elections, just declared themselves the winner. And that happened in many areas. You saw what happened in Mukono, you saw what happened in Kampala. So in these areas, in most of the urban areas, the NRM people were simply declared. People who turned up to vote no, because they still have declaration forms. You saw candidates in Wakiso at the terrace end. They go with the declaration form, they announce the loser, and then they drag you out like you were a thief. So that anger, you may suppress it, but it will remain underground. So issues of stealing elections, issues of militarizing not only elections, but our lives. As I speak to you now, I was attempting to present this matter to Parliament today. There are demolitions going on all over the country. They are demolishing
in the name of trade order.
In the name of trade order. I told an NRM minister that you guys, you need to go to Butavika. These people that you are saying should be ordered, go and see where they sleep. They sleep in slums, they come to town on borders. So you are telling them there must be order only where they are working. There is no order where they are staying. So what do you start with? Do you start, that's what I told Hon.Ssemujju Nganda when they are closing school, that they don't have pit latrines. I told the report of the audit, report of National Bureau of Statistics. You go to Karamoja, 60% of people don't have even pit latrines. So, and now you say they must have them at school.
Thank you. I'll certainly get back to you. Honorable Sabiti, do you agree that there is a bit of a political impasse in the wake of the election?
Well, I see a lot of soldiers in town, which is a little bit unusual. I've always been asking, what are these soldiers for? We have concluded elections. Is there something happening? So maybe it is the state to tell us why there are so many soldiers around, if there is some trouble. People need to cool down, to get out of fear. Elections were concluded. Many people complained on our part as a party. We felt this was not an election. It was just allocating votes to different people, particularly the government people. So I think government should come out and explain why this environment, why people are getting scared looking at soldiers, at the policemen everywhere.
Okay. By the look of things, there are issues to do with political freedoms, the shrinking civic space, the state of affairs generally, a despondent populace, and certainly uncertainty over whether we are into transition or everything. Do you think the time is right for a national dialogue of some kind?
There has always been need for that dialogue from the past to date. There are things we have not sorted out as a country. People complain of dictatorship, use of force, stealing elections, disrespect for the rule of law. And in my opinion, there is a need for government to think hard about how Uganda should be governed. These elections that we have gone through, I think every sincere Ugandan would say they were unfairly done. Dressing the whole country from Karamoja to Chisoro, everybody being given a yellow shirt or a yellow dress to appear as if the whole country is yellow, and then you cheat these elections and you say, I have won, and you bring soldiers around to make sure nobody talks, says anything. I think there is need for those in government to think of, can we sit down and discuss the future of this country? I think it is necessary.
Thank you. Hon.Ssemujju, how much do you have to contend with as counsel for the National Unity Platform Party and as a political player, given that today you have heaps of cases post-election, you have unrest within the party. We gather there is a bit of disagreement here and there. Your principal is out of the country, and the issue of political prisoners.
Well, Simon, first, everyone will agree we have a despondent society, a sense of uncertainty and confusion post-election. And it is not about to be resolved if we continue to see the government putting a straight face to state things are okay. As a lawyer in the National Unity Platform, the journey that I've walked since the election period started, if I'm to narrate it, first, we were faced with a problem pre-nomination. Several of our candidates being picked up by drones, prospective candidates. A few did not manage to nominate. As we were struggling with that lot, then we were faced with those who managed, under harsh circumstances, to nominate, being denominated, with a view to having some big fish unopposed. We went into the election period. You saw the violence and discrimination between, as against our candidate, particularly the heavy involvement of the military in the election exercise. We maneuvered to get some people elected. Come election day, we witnessed several of our candidates having all results in their hands, but negotiating to be declared as winner. Some managed to be declared, many were not declared.
So negotiated victories?
Yes.
Oh. Wow.
Where you had to call lawyers and everyone in the tally centers. And a few things returning officers would say, now this is too much. You know, even now I'm from overnight election petition preparations. An election petition is an inquiry of sorts. You get a lot of information. But as a practitioner who has been at this for more than 15 years, the kind of petitions, grievances that we have on our desks now, looking back, says it all. You have even those who manage to be declared. After being declared, the same electoral commission that declared them winners has certified results where they are not winners. Having declared them as winners, they are now certifying declaration of results forms for those they declared as losers, as winners. Leave alone having declared people in the third position, because that is another set of petitions that we have. So most of the petitions, our prayers are going to be that the one probably who was declared winner did not win. And now we are going to see even those who did not win seeking for the same prayer of having won an election which they did not win.
On the other hand, of recent we've seen a number of political prisoners being released. Is this a win that NUP celebrates?
Meanwhile, as we were struggling with the electoral malpractices, violence, and illegalities by even the Electoral Commission, then we had thousands of our supporters being arrested. We have a record of over 3,000 supporters and leaders having been taken to prison. Information is not coming out that even some actually died in detention, especially towards the election date. This is all being
It's a big statement.
It is. It is true. In prison. People have died in prison. I'll say it on TV. Out of this suffocation. Simon, we found our people in prisons, cells, which were supposed to hold 20, holding 200 people. In Luzira here, remand. People beyond 40 years could hardly survive being piled up in a cell. So there was a lot of gross mismanagement of this election, more than ever before. And to conclude, having had diplomats saying that we have a good international image, I think you can't put a straight face in so stating, especially that just most recently, when you were called to the EU as government, you could not manage to put a straight face to defend a bit of codified transgressions.
Ambassador Donia, aren't you merely doing face saving when you say all is well apparently against all that is being talked about by the panelists here? And besides, it's only normal that every after election you pick up the pieces. How come there is no effort by the government to try to fix what went wrong as you move on?
Thank you, Simon. As my people from Isinjiro would say, what would they say? I expected, with due respect, my fellow panelists to really, given the fact that they are from the opposition, to say what they are saying. That's normal. And I think these elections, there is no election that is worldwide that is perfect. We live in an imperfect world. And I think politically we have litigated the outcome of these elections immediately after the elections. And I'm glad that the council here talks about going to court, legal recourse. It is within our law. You know, you are not satisfied with the outcome, you go to court. Simon, we are in a very turbulent region of the Great Lakes region. You know, compared to our neighbors, and I'm not going to name countries. Post-election situations, Uganda is really passed with flying colors. Hon.Ssemujju Nganda can say, okay, there is, in every society, I mean, where you live in America, you know, a certain group of people have been, you know, oppressed or not happy for some time. It's normal. But we are not, you know, lights are switched on. There are no bodies on the streets. There are no rioting. And that is a really...
One of the contenders is out of the country.
Yeah, that's...
Because he was hounded out of the country.
No,
that's a critical issue, isn't it?
No, he was not hounded out of the country. He, with his own admission, he found his way out of the country. He was not hounded by some... He found his way out of the country. You know, that can be a topic of the
At his
program.
volition or because of the situation?
At his volition. You know, he talks about, you know, he felt uncomfortable. And the government has said he's free to come back. But on his own volition, he left the country. He left his home and left the country. He was not deported from his country. So I think I want to pick, if you allow me, my elder, Honorable Savit, where he picked about national dialogue. I think over the last 20 years, dialogue has become a dirty word. Kind of. It is synonymous, you know, if the opposition talks to government, they have been bought. Nobody wants, even when they are dialoguing or when they are talking, nobody wants to. I mean, it's our country. We need to normalize the word dialogue. And dialogue can be different phases. Okay, you have the post-election environment where there is tension. You know, people can talk and see how to come, and he's in the courts, he's in the police. Politicians can talk. Then you have what Honorable Sabit referred to that has been talked about, the national dialogue. And but
in the interim, are you aware of talks that are being spearheaded by the Interreligious Council?
I have heard them talk about dialogue immediately after the elections, and they have explained it very well. That they are dealing with the post-election situation, but they will also deal with the national dialogue, which is mid-term and long-term, to talk about structural issues in the country. And I think that's normal and important. But my point is that we need to normalize dialogue. Dialogue needs to be normal, part of our political fabric. You know, we should avoid the situation whereby I'm talking to my brother. I can't talk to my brother, counsel, because I'm from the government. And I cannot be seen with him because he's from the opposition. I think once we go beyond that, we will start having a better country. And I'm seeing in the media about as if dialogue is a problem, as if talks are secret, as if people talking about breaking an impasse or addressing issues where they can really make sure things are running normally should be encouraged. That's my point.
Very interesting.
Dialogue became a problem because of what has happened.
Yes.
I have kept telling this story. I go to State House with a panel to record a radio program. As I am exiting, that time Miguel was the Minister for Lands. He hugs me and thank you, my brother, for seeing the light.
You are still a journalist or you had joined politics?
I had joined politics 2014. I was an MP.
And you are doing a radio program?
We were on a panel and the president said, you come and we record it from here. I had actually refused to go. But eventually I said, okay, I can go to State House and have it. So a minister hugs me to say, my younger brother. thank you very much for seeing the light. And that has become the conduct of Mr. Museveni and the State House. The moment people see you there. So if you want dialogue to regain its traditional meaning, you need to begin with that.
Honorable Ssemujju,
I saw MPs in Tanzania when they had problems with Chikwete. Opposition MPs walked to State House and said, please, you are not, there was no problem. In Kenya, they do it.
Honorable Ssemujju,
But the moment you turn State House into a deal-making platform.
You've had hints of talks
Yes.
to guarantee the freedom of Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, the fate of to discuss the fate of political prisoners. Is this something in the right direction? And do you find it plausible that...
I've told you where the problem is, and that problem needs to be solved. Because I think Museveni has psyched the country to believe that each time you go to Museveni, you've gone to look for handouts. And I think that's what he offers in plenty. That when you come, he will even be surprised that if you go to see him. One time I was a journalist covering a committee of parliament, Committee on Presidential Affairs, that time chaired by Margaret Zua. So they go to State House to interview the president. They are processing some motions of parliament. And throughout the meeting, they were on personal issues. There is an MP to Wita from Nakasongola. Your Excellency, can you be a guest of honor at my wedding? Your Excellency, my father left the school. So that's what happens in the State House. That's how you need to recover the integrity, the image of public institutions, starting with the presidency. That when people come to see you, they have come to see you for an issue, not for handout. So the reason everybody who will be seen with Museveni, the point you made here, that if they see you with Muizi, they will think that either he's compromising you or you're compromising him. That has been deliberately created. And we need to deal with that for the dialogue to happen. But otherwise, if you start with the dialogue, whoever goes to the dialogue is going to be, he will have a problem either with his institution, if it's a political party, or with the society. Because that's what the president has built over a period of time, that when you go to him, you've gone to do a deal like Trump does. It's deal making. So, dialoguing, as the Honorable Jack Sabit said, it has been a demand of all the key actors. In the past, the word used to be national conference, national conference. You remember that?
Now it's being influenced by the religious leaders. Do you think they will make any breakthrough?
I am not sure that they will succeed, because after 2016, we had a similar situation. And I know Adonia was involved at one stage.
Deeply?
I don't want to
no, his name was widely known.
But I know
now
it was...
the years have passed by, you can divulge.
The religious leaders, the elders, the situation room, some of them genuinely felt that we needed a discussion as a country, and therefore went to persuade both Mr. Museveni and Dr. Besigye and their teams. And I was on a committee. I even was called by Rugonda because I didn't believe in these discussions. I think someone must have told him. So he called me, and I went to his office. And he said, my younger brother, I've been told this, what is the problem? So, because the aim of Museveni is to create calmness. And you see, Adonia, we need to calm down. That's the agenda.
To do what?
Calmness. You want to create calmness.
Artificial or real?
Even if you are at pain, they will want you to behave like you are okay. At that time, the parties involved in pushing for a dialogue genuinely wanted a dialogue. But Museveni wanted calmness in the country to recover the economy, which had been disturbed by the election and the amount of money he had taken out. As soon as he gained that stability, then he ran away from the dialogue. We had reached far, he had even signed the documents.
I'll talk about that. That's not entirely true.
He took off. So even this time, people want to dialogue with Museveni. It is because of what I told you at the beginning of this program that the tension remains. He sees it. That's why he has deployed the anti-riot and military and police. They are still occupying strategic locations in Kampala. I think he's not sure of the response of the people. Because you see, people can keep quiet. In Tanzania, they did. And Suluhu went through an election smoothly. I was in Dar es Salaam. She had covered the whole of Dar es Salaam with her pictures. She didn't even allow candidates from her party to put posters. They were only posters of Samia Suluhu. And on election day, the country went up in flame. They had to shoot people. Museveni, being a soldier with his experience, I think he understands that when you offend people by the things that happened in election and after, you're on tenterhooks. You don't know what their response will be. So his solution now is to deploy the military just in case. So he's interested in calmness 100%. Is he interested in dialogue? No. Do we need a dialogue? Yes, you need a dialogue on a set of issues. I remember 2016, I am one of those who proposed that actually we don't need a meeting with Museveni. Let us put down all our grievances and grievances of others in a document, and then he will respond, we will respond. We can agree, we don't have to go and meet anywhere. The moment you have agreed on issues, then you can sign them. That was the agreement. But for him, he was pushing for a meeting. Adonia, you're not the only one who was involved. There are also others. In fact, at one time, he was saying, you see, for this dialogue to start, why don't I meet Besigye first? When I meet Besigye, then the dialogue can start. And he said, no, you deal with the document. The issues are here. They are not personal.
Well, Adonia will definitely make a response later. But Honorable Sabiti, isn't it anything to celebrate that after weeks of a siege at Bobi Wine's house, the soldiers are gone, and we are increasingly getting to see leaders and members of the National Unity Platform who were arrested and incarcerated getting released, and these key wins that point to beautiful things ahead? Or how much do we interrogate about them?
You see, let's not simplify the situation. What happened affected different people, parties, families, but, so we need a well-structured dialogue, not a dialogue of calling 10 people, 3 people. Must have a national dialogue.
Yeah, but something should tell you that behind the scenes there is some influence to get key wins or at least key picks.
You see, the way this country has been led, let's be frank to each other. Nearly in every election in this country, we have had problems in terms of not accepting the elections, the use of guns, the manipulation of elections by electoral commission, the unnecessary arrest of citizens. You see, these are things which a country must sit down and discuss. You may have a country and have a strong army and it looks peaceful, but internally, people are not happy. You can't just look at this election, which we have just finished, and say, yes, we won, we have many members of parliament. That's not enough. Some people think there was a lot of cheating. Some of us believe, actually we believe, there was a lot of manipulation, manipulating systems, using force, the military force, using electoral commission. So all these are serious issues. If they are not handled.
Okay, do you applaud the departure of the military, the garrison that was at Chagulanyi's residence?
But they are gone. Other than that spot in his house, they are everywhere. Yes, it's as if we are at war. Yes, go around town, go everywhere. Are we at war?
Okay. Does the departure of the military from Kyagulanyi's residence signal anything?
Maybe they were looking for evidence of whatever, which I don't know.
But at what time did they depart?
They
I
left
saw it on TV.
on Tuesday.
They were
Because
showing it
initially-
on TV and whatever, but
Initially,
I
they
don't
were-
know whether all of them have even left.
They were not sure that Kyagulanyi had fled the country. I think now they are happy having established that he's in America. So if they went there for Kyagulanyi and he's not there, then they will leave. I don't think the purpose was the house. But they were not sure. Is he in the country? Has he left? Now when he said, the guys, I am here, I mean, they had to leave.
Do you treat it ordinarily, or these could be efforts?
But if you have been around, every election this has happened. There was a time they camped at Westjay's place. They didn't have a toilet for nearly 3 months. They were just using his farm, spreading diseases for 3 months. But when Museveni is sure that now the population has moved on, progressively, even the ones at the roundabouts, he will withdraw them. The moment he establishes that the population has moved on. And that's why diplomats who are doing diplomatic work in Uganda, like Adonia, they will all be here to say, you guys will come down, this is our country, I should speak to Ssemujju and have a cup of tea. They are all withdrawn from their stations to come down the situation. So there is less diplomacy to do in America. There is now diplomacy to do here. Once it is done, Adonia will be back in New York and the others will go.
But I thought now that Kyagulanyi is
So
globe-trotting,
there is nothing.
Adonia has a lot on his platter now to go and clean up after him.
No, the problem is not Kyagulanyi. I don't think Kyagulanyi lives at all the roundabouts in Kampala. He doesn't live there. The problem remains the population. This population that you saw exploding in Tanzania, you will never know when it does and where it will begin.
Hon.Ssemujju, while on the face of it, officials at the National Unity Platform have denied any kind of negotiations with President Museveni for a safe return of the principal, there are signals all over the place. The release of political prisoners, the freeing of his house, plus, of course, a lot that is coming. Isn't this something worth celebrating?